Welcome back to the Diver Guide channel. Today we're talking about the front hurdle, and it's one of the most requested videos from you guys in the comments. So thank you for telling me what you guys want. This is a super important part of diving. It's often said that it's the first thing you learn and the last thing you master, because your hurdle will always be evolving, and there will always be something that's a little off with it that you have to work through to make it even more efficient over time. Another thing I want to say before we start is thank you for all the comments and the kind things that you guys have been saying. It's been really cool to read the feedback that you guys have given me, and I really just want to keep making videos for you. So we'll get right to it. The hurdle can be pretty technical. You'll even see that there's inefficiencies and things that even the pros do wrong, which is really mind-boggling to me, because you would think that by then they would have the most efficient hurdles possible, but a lot of them actually have some things that are a little off. But another thing to keep in mind is that this is in competition, so you basically have to take any hurdle that you get. That's why they're so good. They can take subpar hurdles and still really crush a dive at the end. So we'll start right here with this young girl that's doing what appears to be a drill hurdle with her arms up, which is a really good idea. If you use your shoulders too much and you're not really stable walking down the board, having your arms up or your arms by your side and doing your hurdle without arms is a great way to really engage your core and your legs throughout the movement and to really expose your issues if it's stemming from the upper body, while also allowing you to focus on the lower body movement, which is very important in a hurdle. So I figured I would throw this one in here because I wanted to talk about the drill, but we can also go over some quick ideas about what makes a hurdle really good in the first place. You can see that as she comes into that hurdle step, she lifts her knee up before she's really pushed into the board. When you're on the ground and you're practicing your hurdle, there's not going to be a lot of spring or any spring. But when you get onto the board is going to give down whenever you put force on it. So make sure that when you're bringing your knee up, that you first give yourself time to push into the board and really put energy down into the board so that it can give it back to you on the way up. One big thing that you learn as you grow in the sport is that the board naturally wants to push you away, and the more that you try and stay on it, the better. Early on, you'll see a lot of people use their hips, like this girl, to jump up and away. You can see she has like a C position, but her knees are way out in front of her toes and her hips are even further out than that. So she's really, really launching herself out and away, and that's just something that will moderate over time, and you'll be able to just use the board more and jump up and stay back on your heels more as you're jumping, which we will see as we move forward. So that's the first big takeaway, that you want to stay on the board as long as possible. Keep your weight back because the board wants to naturally push you away. And the next thing that we're really going to talk about is efficiency in movements. Every joint in your body and every movement that you make has to be aligned to get you the most fluid looking and aligned jump possible. This next girl does a Texas two-step, which is just a different version of a hurdle, and we'll see plenty of examples of a traditional hurdle, a two-step, and a hop hurdle. Now, the two-step can be pretty complicated because there's so many different ways to do it. Everybody's biomechanics and everybody's body type is a little bit different, which allows them to play to their strengths. You're going to see some people that take a really big lunge from closer to the fulcrum on their last step, and you'll see other people that keep it a little bit tighter at the end and really emphasize the jumps up closer to the end of the board. So there's no right or wrong, but there are things that you want to keep in mind. Like when she comes through on this hurdle, she does a great job bringing her knee up, but you can see for her toe to her hip is at a very different angle than her hip to her head or arms. She has a little bit of a hollow hip situation going on, which keeps her forward by the end of the jump. The thing that she understands that the first young lady didn't get was the pushing into the board. Off the two-step, she's pushing pretty hard. Into the hurdle step, she's depressing the board even further and really trying to use it to get up into the air, which is great. I would challenge you to take a look at your alignment as you're coming up off the hurdle step. And right here, where are you? Are you right on top of your bottom foot? Are you leaning forward a lot? Are you on your heel too much? Are your hands above your head early enough? Which is what we're going to really talk about in the next one, because using momentum, your time on the board, to get yourself into alignment is the name of the game. And like we said before, there's different styles. So watch how this guy, he takes a really big lunge into that last step, but look how far back his arms are. Yours don't need to be that high, but understanding that you can swing your arms through and use gravity and momentum to allow them to get up above your head faster. Let's take a look at when he's at the bottom of the board ride here on the first jump. His arms are nearly all the way to the top. One of them is, and the other one's a little bit in front. So one of them is a little bit behind the other. But let's compare that position, the bottom position there, to the young lady before. It isn't even close. Her arms are still very low, below even horizontal. And so that's why she ends up fighting here at the top. Her shoulders come down because the board is trying to push her whole body up, and her arms are trying to get up even faster than the board is pushing her. So her shoulders have to expend a ton of energy to get her arms above her head. Whereas this diver that we were talking about uses the momentum of the swing and allows his shoulders to relax so that they just swing right up. He doesn't even have to worry about it. They're just going up on their own because of the momentum that he's carrying through the swing and circle, and he doesn't have to even try. So it's putting less effort into a more efficient and smoother movement. And that's all I have to say for part 1. I'm going to be releasing part 2 next weekend and part 3 after that. In part 2, we're going to go over how to fix being back on the board and being forward on the board, as you see in these final videos that I'm showing. Like I said in the beginning, the hurdle is super important, and being able to fix your mistakes on the fly is a really important skill to have, and I'm super excited to bring it to you. So stay tuned for that next week. Until then, keep training, subscribe, and if you don't mind liking this video so I can get it in front of more divers, that'd be awesome. Thanks. Talk to you guys next time.